All right, so we will be back at it. Took a break, did some meetings, picked up my dog. Now I've got a little bit of free time, so I wanted to make a little bit more progress, and hopefully we won't have Studio dragging us down too much while we do this. So yeah, just go ahead and get started. For those of you who maybe weren't in the first part of the stream, we've been working on this. Well, so the plan is to create a countdown timer, which is part of this Android dev challenge that's going on. And I found this mock-up on Dribbble, and it's kind of got this cool thing on the right hand side here. This is kind of the design I'm going for, and the idea is that we'll be using like sort of like a thumb wheel kind of iPod like thing, where that'll be how we increase the time when we're indicating how much of the countdown we want. So that's like my idea. And for the first part of the stream, the kind of main thing we were doing, so we were trying to set up like all of the gestures, and so we got this kind of set up. So you can see here we've got some state that indicates like the drag position, and D Phoenix asked, will you be building the left screen? So maybe another time, but yeah, my idea so far was really just to do the right hand side, where I would, instead of defining with like a vertical scroll wheel like the hours, minutes, and seconds, that I would just do this kind of like winding action, which I think is kind of cool. It's honestly probably less functional in terms of user experience. Like if you wanted to do hours or something, it wouldn't make that much sense. But I think it's like a cool thing to just build. So I'm gonna try that first. So we've got it kind of displaying the current angle of my thumb as I move it around here. And so now what we want to do is like kind of turn this into a functional looking UI, and kind of convert that angle into some amount of time. And so we'll start playing around with that and see what happens. So DPhoenix says, I was trying to build a version of the left screen but couldn't get the snapping to work on the list items when the scrolling comes to an end. There should be like an API to do that. Let me just try and pull it up here. So if we do like vertical scroll, let me find out what's in here. We're scrolling. Is it part of fling behavior? Nope. There's some sort of like, there's like destination targets or something. Forget where those come in. I ended up using them in a different project on this stream actually, but I'm not sure. There's something, it's like adjust destination or something. Not easy to search this. Was it vertical scroll? Just interaction source. I don't remember what it was. I'll have to look for it later. You can catch an earlier stream. Actually, hold on 1 second. Let's see. We can probably find this. Oh, it's not going to be. That was the movie app. Let me see if I can find it real quick, and then we'll get started. All right, that's not gonna load. Okay. I'll try and find it later. Sorry, can't find it right now. Yeah, I think there's some sort of a like the fling animation. You're able to adjust the end positions, and what you can do is then like whenever it gives you a destination, you just pick like the nearest integer or something, and then the physics will kind of work out like a view pager would, or like, you know, it'll nestle down on a correct position. Abhishek asks, how stable have you found the Canary build of it? Android Studio to be. Compose looks amazing, but even to get the samples to work, my laptop struggles to run Android Studio Canary. In general, I feel like they haven't been that bad, but you know, I think we ended up trying to cram a lot into Canary 8 or something for beta, and it seems like this particular Canary is, you know, maybe less stable than a lot of the others have been. You know, that said, it is Canary, which, you know, that's part of the problem, is that you know, there isn't as much stability there, and so Compose support will be graduating up, you know, past Canary, but we're kind of in this, you know, spot right now where it's not as stable as it could be. Yeah, the movie app should be on GitHub. One thing is, like, it might not have been updated to the latest APIs, and so the API that I was using in the movie app might be like named something different now, so I'm not sure. Okay, so let's see, what do we want to do here? Let's start making it look pretty. that'll be the next step. So what I'd like to do is kind of get rid of some of this, just temporarily, and well, let's just get rid of the background color. And this draw behind. So we get rid of those. And then let's make it a box with some children. Let's see. So I think what I'd like to do now, I guess I should start off by saying kind of like where my mind's at when I'm like developing this. So this whole like interaction with the thumb wheel and stuff like that, you know, you could think of that as just like a single widget that, like, you know, it gets drawn, and we could do all of that in the draw phase, and kind of like pass like a big chunk of state to this like thing that just draws that like wheel on the canvas. I think that would probably be the most performant way to do it. But what I'm gonna try first is just to have, I'm gonna have like an element for each one of those, each little tick mark along the wheel. I'm gonna create like a layout node for each one of those, and we'll see how that works out. I mean, I don't imagine performance is going to be a problem for this, like, you know, tiny small little app. But like it's something that my mind's kind of constantly thinking about. But I think I want to do this in like sort of the clean way that makes me, you know, feel like I'm working with Compose and stuff like that. So let's make a tick mark composable. And let's see, so let's give it an angle, which I'm gonna give it like an integer angle. So this is gonna be like somewhere between like 0 and 360. And let's just start off with like it'll just be like simple state. It's either colored or it's not. Like it's populated or not. So let's just call that on. And that'll be it. We'll just start with that. And so then what I'd like to do in here is, let's just say I in 0 until 360. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do like 0 until 36, and then just multiply it by 10. So we'll have 36 things here. That might not be enough. So maybe 72. We'll do that. That would be 12 per quadrant, right? No, that's not right. I can't count. All right, let's see how that looks. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna say tick mark I times 20, or no, 5. And then on equals false. Let's just do that. Can't wait for Compose to graduate to be available in beta builds. Been using your videos. Cool, good to hear that. Okay, so now for like what the tick mark is gonna look like. So actually, for whether it's on, I'm just gonna say I less than like 15 or something, so that so that we see some of them lit up and stuff like that. So what should I do here? I think I'm actually just gonna do this is kind of silly, but let's do a box, and we'll fill the max size. and we're just gonna like address the canvas here. So this box like isn't styled at all, like in the sense of like the box being styled, and I'm gonna have it fill that whole width, and that's fine. And then what we'll do is we'll draw on the canvas just like at the angle that it's supposed to be and all that. So let's see. What I want to do here is I want to draw a line. And so for the color, let's say if on, just like a color. What I'm going to do white, and then I'm going to say I'm going to copy with alpha equal to 0.2. So this will just be like a translucent white, which should kind of blend in with the background nicely. Yeah, I think that'll be nice. And then, oh, I gotta do the else here. So that's if it's off. So if it's on, then we've got that RG dark red color. I'm just gonna use that now. Okay, and so now we've got the offset. So start and end. What we want to do, so that we've got an angle in degrees. And so let's just say we're on the unit circle or something. So we're gonna say offset, and then let me get the angle in radians. And what this will be is angle times pi divided by 180, right? So that gives me that, and then so let's just say so let's get like a start radius equals. So a full 100% radius would be size divided by 2, right? Or sorry, width divided by 2. And so let's say that and we want a center, so equals center. I guess that we don't have to recalculate that. Size dot width. So we've got the width divided by 2. Let's say that we go from like 50% to 70% or 80% or something, right? So let's just say times 0.5, and so that's the start radius, and let's say the end radius is 0.8, right? So then for the starting point, we want center. Okay. All right, so let's say start So let's say start position equals offset. And so then X here is going to be cosine angle in radians. Let's just rename this to be theta. I like that better. Theta. Do I have to use like cos 2 here or something? I don't think so. Okay, so cos are good. And I want column math. Okay. So we're going to do that times the start radius, and we're going to have sine theta times the start radius. Okay, and then end position. And so start position and end position are relative to the center. So we're gonna have to add center to both of them, but that's fine. End radius. And it probably would make more sense for me to like multiply by end radius once or something, but I don't think it matters. I'm gonna need to turn these into floats. Well, actually, that might be a good reason. Will this make it? Get you as a float. There we go. I should be able to get a float to float. And then all of these. There we go. All right, start position, end position. So so here we want center plus start position. And then center plus end position. And then what else do we got in here? Okay, so stroke width. Kind of want like a fat stroke width here. So let's see what we got. Let's do 5. And then stroke cap. Kind of want to see what we have here. Stroke dot. What are these? Stroke cap. Round. I think round is good. Do I need to? Is that? Yeah. Okay. That's just an enum. All right. Path effect, I don't need that. Alpha, color filter, blend mode. I think we're good there. Okay. Not sure how that'll work out, but let's just see what that looks like. Hey Dev Souza. Hey Society Data Android. Nice to see ya. All right, the build is a bit slow. Good morning. Where are you located, Bao An? It's 6:30 p.m. for me. Okay, cool. So we got something kind of going here. We've got our wheel. We've got these. You know, you can see that we start here on the right-hand side, and we may want to think about. I mean, that's, you know, in normal polar coordinates, that's where you would start. But we may want to think about making angle of 0 be straight up. Yeah. Vietnam, cool. Welcome to my stream. Glad to have you here. Okay, so I kind of like the number of like ticks in the mock-up here. I'm gonna try and figure out how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it looks like there's 10 per quadrant. All right, which is gonna be 40. So we want 360 divided by 40, which is 9. Well, actually, I guess all we need is 40 here. And then we'll do 5 times 9. That should work. Okay, and let's see. They were a little light, so I'm gonna do something like 9 for the stroke width. And then let's constantize some of these things. So end percent end radius percent. Let's do 0.8 for that. Start. And I guess since these aren't actually percents, let's use fractions here. Fraction. Radius. Start radius. And I'm going to adjust those a little bit. So I think they needed to be a bit shorter. So I think I'm going to go with 0.7. Let's do 0.75 and 0.6. See how that works. And let's have our stroke width here. Tick width equals 9. Let's pull those out a little bit. Okay, let's try that. Oh, the editor's not showing. Darn it. Thank you for letting me know. Here is the editor. So all I did is I moved some of these values out into constants. So you can play with them there. And then this is the result, which, you know, it seems better in some aspects. The, let's see. So I feel like something's not quite right. Well, okay, I guess my start radius is too high. So I think we want to go something like 0.4 here. Not quite. Yeah, so this would be like a really great example of like when live literals would, if they were working, would be really nice. Let's do 0.5. That's why my app's crashing, because of live literals. Next release, that'll work much better. Abhishek asks, what playlist is this? This is like a personal playlist I have for like a streaming playlist. And I think someone made a Spotify playlist of my streaming music. I don't have a link to it handy. Let me see if I can find it, because it was kind of cool that they did that. I'm not sure if we can. I don't think live literals can be disabled entirely. It'd probably be good if it could. Maybe though. Let's try turning this off. Might need to restart if I do that. Yeah, let me restart real quick. Not the whole machine, just Android Studio. Let's see. Okay, I'm looking for that Spotify playlist. I know it's in my. Here it is. Oh yeah, it was Afsal that did it. Grab a link to it. Copy link address. Okay. So here's the link for those who were asking about my Spotify, or not my Spotify playlist, but the music that I'm listening to. Afsal made a playlist of a lot of that music, so you can check that out if you want. All right, and let me see. I need to reconnect Studio to the stream. 1 second. Okay. All right, so I think I might have disabled live literals, but I'm not sure. Let's try. So let's rebuild. Knight Samir says, "Hey Leland, sorry I joined late. Can you tell me about the draw behind modifier? I'm not familiar with that." Sure. So it's a useful modifier. Basically what this lets you do is this kind of gives you access to a canvas that is sort of in the scope of that layout element, and so then you can call canvas operations like I'm doing here with draw line, and then that'll create that line, and it'll sort of be part of that layout element. So that's how I'm drawing this little tick. It's it's arguably a little bit wasteful the way I'm doing this, where I'm creating a box just to draw this line. But I think like the way this code's gonna work out, I think it'll feel kind of clean So I'm going to do it that way. I think it'll, performance wise, I'm not super worried about this this app. So all right, the app launched, and let's see. So if I update this, looks like it's not doing the live literal, so that's good. All right. I am excited to demo the live literals. The next build of Studio should have a much better version of it, and it'll be really fun to use that on stream. And I'll probably spend some time improving live literals on stream so that they work even better. So we'll play around with that. Should be fun. Okay, so we're doing a little bit of math. We've got these tick marks showing up. Size-wise, this seems reasonable place to start. So let's stick with that. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the opacity on the color a little bit less, so 10% instead of 20. And then another thing I want to do, so if you look here on the mock-up, if you look on the mock-up, there's like a little bit of a gradient to this background here, and I want to try and replicate that. So to do that, I'm gonna do that here, and let's say that we've got so one, I'm gonna have this fill out the size of the container, and then I'm going to give it a background, and I think that there should be a so I know there's a linear gradient shader. I don't remember exactly how I'm supposed to use this. Let's find out. So this implements a brush. That's good. What else is in here? So I'm going to use a radial gradient. And actually, so this is neat. A sweep gradient is probably what we're going to want to do to color. Oh, I'm looking at the IDE again. You're missing the IDE. But okay, so looking at these tick marks, they kind of follow this like sweep gradient, and we're actually going to want that. So that's cool. I'm going to use that probably. But let's go back to the IDE. Yeah, sorry everyone. I'm getting back into the streaming. I'm forgetting the windows again, and I'll try and get the sounds working. I'm not really sure. Not sure what I did to break them, but they don't seem to be working anymore. But okay, so there's a radial gradient which I'm going to use on the background here. What do I need to pass in here? Why isn't this working? Okay, constructors internal. Where do I find it then? Is it like gradient at radial or something? Radial gradient. Ah, it's on brush. Okay. So this is what we want. Let's see, pair of floating colors. Okay, let's try this. Got a radial gradient. Let's do list of G color center and BG color edge. What we got here? So I'm hoping that offset.unspecified just like goes to the center, and then that's fine. And the radius, positive infinity. Hopefully that's good. So let's see how this looks. Yeah, Gabe Souza says your stream quality is so great. Love your transitions. Thank you, appreciate that. You know, I ended up paying someone to kind of build some of these stream transitions and stuff for me. They did a really great job. If you want, I can. You can look at my Twitter history. I kind of tweeted about it, but I definitely recommend them if you're looking for similar work. Okay, so all right, so that's cool. So we got like a little bit of a gradient now. It kind of it makes the screen feel a little more dynamic, which I like. And so if we get rid of the text here, this will end up looking better because the gradient will be centered with that, which would be nice. So let's do that, and then let's see, what do we want here? Let's give ourselves a time. So I don't know. I'm gonna source it from state later on, but let's just give it a hard-coded string at the moment, and let's see, what are we going to want here? So I'm going to make it so that the elements are also centered horizontally. And that means that the text should be centered like however we render it, and we'll be all right with that. Let's see what we want to do here. Style is you can leave them in here. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So text style. I'm just gonna build a text style here, and we can constantize it later. sorry. Okay, so color, I think this is just a pure white. We'll go with that. And let's see, font size. Not really sure. Let's try like 48. And I'm just gonna go with the default font. I think that's fine. Although we might, yeah, I don't know. Maybe a monospaced font would be good. I'll try running that real quick. So Nightsmere asks, are you using a Mac? If yes, which one and RAM amount? I am using a Mac. It's a 15-inch MacBook Pro. I think it has 16 gigs of RAM. Let me check. 32 gigs it has. So why is this? That right? Okay, that's what I wanted. Okay, let's see how that looks. That did not work. So the text got positioned in the top left. I'm honestly not sure why. I thought that this would have made that not the case. And did it? Nightsmere says, okay, thanks. I'm planning to buy the M1 Mac. Hope the M1 optimized Androids to be released soon. Yeah, that'd be cool. Not sure when that'll happen, but yeah, all the the Apple Silicon stuff, it all looks really great. So I'd like to get one at some point. Okay, so I'm wondering why this is not getting centered. I'm not sure I understand that. Oh, it's because I see. It's inside of the box, so it's if I put it here, it would be different, right? But it's still gonna be on top of the box. I see. So I actually do want it here. I'm gonna keep it there, and I guess what I can do. Let's see. So fill max size, and actually, does this text have? So then I can do text align. Text align dot center. Actually, is that part of the text style here? Yeah. Okay. So let's move that up there. And then I want it to be positioned vertically. think what the right way to do this is. If it's inside this box, what is this complaining about? Oh, these need to be switched. Anyone know? I don't think this is what I want. I want it to I see. So I can adjust this. So content alignment, at center. Okay, that's what I want. And then I shouldn't need this at that point. All right, try that. Night Smear says multi-threaded composable sounds really cool. Do you think the performance gains it will bring will be huge? Yeah, it depends. I mean, multi-threading always comes at a cost, but I think a lot of that cost we're already paying. But there's still, some thread coordination and stuff like that. But I think that the multi-threading is going to be the most impactful in terms of, there are some areas where it's just really, really useful. Like one of those is going to be lazy list, I think. The other thing is around scheduling and prioritization. So what it allows us to do is like schedule certain updates to happen on the main thread synchronously. Well, not necessarily, I mean, synchronously, but like we can basically say, okay, a state transition that happened from an animation, let's like prioritize that, and let's run that composition on the main thread instead of on a background thread. But then a state transition from say like network data loading, that could be a lower priority, and so then we'll run that on a background thread. And then the fact that the animation changes won't be blocked by that, that's going to make a big perceived difference for users and stuff like that. But a lot of this is it's still pretty far away, and so there's a lot of stuff to explore, and so we'll be doing a lot of that. But I'm excited for it. All right, so we've got this countdown timer, looking reasonable. So now let's try and hook it up to our little state up here. So we've got our position, and what we can do, so we've got position offset. So we've got offset.theta, which is going to be in degrees. And so then we'll say down here, let's say theta equals position.theta. Angle equals I times 9. And so now let's say position.theta that's 0. want this to be, I guess it's a float. All right, and then here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, so it's on if angle is less than theta, right? Let's give that a shot. All right, here's the money shot. So let's see. Okay, cool. So we're handling some negative values incorrectly, which makes sense. But you know, this is working pretty well. So that's nice. So let's deal with that, and we can deal with the like whole positive number at the same time, or the where the origin of theta is. Gabe Souza says, is there currently any UI framework that uses multi-threading? If so, what are the examples? And 2, comparing Compose with the React, will be multi-threading be a big performance ahead from React, for example? Let's see. So question number 1 is there any UI framework that currently uses multiple threads, or like concurrency, I guess? The answer is very close to no, but there are some examples. So one is Async Display Kit, which is a UI framework that kind of came out of Facebook a while ago. That was really cool, and so that's a pretty good example. Another is Litho, which does do their equivalent notion of like the analog of composition on the background thread, I believe. Someone correct me if they know more about Litho than I do, but I think that's the case. But I'm not sure if there's many other examples of that than those two that I can think of. I'm sure there. I mean, there are so many UI toolkits. I'm sure there are more, but it seems like very often the conclusion is that it's too complicated and too problematic in order to do multi-threading. But you know, to be clear, what we're doing, which is a little bit different, is the actual like view hierarchy, or the view hierarchy equivalent that we're working with in Compose is going to be single threaded. And so you're building a tree of what we call layout nodes, and the operations that like the logic of that tree is single threaded by and large, and we won't have to change that because composition happens. That composition can happen in parallel, concurrently, and all these things, but it's not actually mutating anything. It's not updating that tree. All composition is doing is building up a change list, which can then be applied in a in a single coordinator thread, which that makes a big difference to be able to kind of separate those two things. And that was that's also what Litho does, and it's also like, arguably React Native works the same way. Like React Native is it executes in JavaScript like React does. And so it's building up those changes, and then it ships them over to a whole different thread. I mean, so there's the JavaScript thread, and then there's the UI thread, and so it ships all those changes over to the main thread, and applies those updates. And so Compose would work kind of very similarly. The only difference is the thread that's doing the render, or like the React part, which is composition, that is not running JavaScript, it's running Kotlin, and so it's part of the same virtual machine that that everything else is, and so you don't have to pay for like the serialization costs to marshal those operations over some boundary between the JavaScript VM and the art and stuff like that. So there are a lot of cases where something similar is going on. However, because we're going to all be working in Kotlin, and so composition can happen in Kotlin and the native VM. What that means is that the cost of spinning up multiples of these threads will be a lot easier. And so, like in the React Native example, like the JavaScript thread is still single threaded. So like you can't have more than one React render going on. And so React does a lot of interesting things with React Suspense, where it's able to kind of pause a render, which is equivalent to like our recomposition. And so they're able to kind of pause it midway and then start on something else. We don't right now have the ability to pause, but we also don't necessarily need to because we have multiple threads. And so it's like a slightly different approach there. So anyway, long-winded answer to question number one. Question number two is, compare and compose with React, will multi-threading be a big performance ahead from React, for example? So I'm not sure I fully understand the question. I guess I probably partially answered this with my answer to question number one, but yeah, I mean, so React has suspense, which is different than multi-threading. It's React Suspense is like a really good scheduling API for React, and the sort of superpower that Suspense brought along with it is the ability to pause a re-render kind of midway, and they do that by treating each render function kind of like individually. Like each render function runs to completion, and then before it sort of recurses down, it asks the scheduler and says, hey, should I keep doing this work, or do you have more important work for me to do? And so React